What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers tonight lose a tough one in Sacramento by a score of 125 to 121. This was a rough road game. What else is new? The Blazers do not carry over their momentum from a 4-0 homestand. They lose to a Kings team that has a brand new coach and has been struggling. And this game is one of the most infuriating games of the season, if I'm being quite honest with you. I'm not going to slowly lead our way into things, Eric. I'm pretty ticked off right now at the way the Blazers played this game. I am extremely frustrated after seeing them make some progress, or at least that's what they would say. You know, we're taking steps, we're making progress. No, you just have home games. Because when this team goes on the road, everything they do at home goes out the freaking window. What are your emotions right now? Eric, are you ticked off too?
Yeah, and that's, CJ's going to get the brunt of the criticism tonight, most likely, but I just feel like this team needs to do something different on the road. And instead of, I don't care who we're playing, we could be playing the worst three-point shooting point guard in the league. I feel like a conservative drop scheme defense, we come out tonight, we're not fighting through picks, we're just being lazy and switching and dropping and letting them get right into the paint. I think they had 30 points in the first 15 minutes of this game in the paint or something incredible like that. And it's just, I don't like that play style. I don't think it's good for this team to sit back and let the offense come to them. I feel like we need to do something to spark this team on the road. Since we don't have the crowd behind us, and I feel like it's just doing irreparable damage in these games defensively by not having an aggressive game plan and kind of having this conservative style. We talked about this all offseason. Chauncey mentioned it. We have to be scrappy and aggressive if we're going to be good on defense. And for the most part this year, we've abandoned all of that. And that's on the coaching staff, in my opinion.
Well, we haven't abandoned it at home.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, on the road, it's just not there.
But yeah, on the road, where you have to have that on the road. You have to. And we give up almost 70 points. They scored 69 in the first half. The only reason why we're winning is because we scored, 71 or something. So, yeah, it's a case where we have to be – we cannot have these conservative game plans anymore on the road. You have to scrap all that. You have to be aggressive. You're not making stops, so why not try and at least force some turnovers instead of just giving up open shot after open shot after open shot? And that's been my main problem with our road team this year. I feel like the game plans have been absolute just dog crap, and we're not going to win many games unless we start playing like a tougher team, and it starts with attacking on defense and trying to force some stops. And we're just getting pushed around, slapped around. The other team can get whatever shot they want on our defense on the road. Yeah. I don't understand it. And it's not because of our size or because our defensive personnel sucks or whatever. It's just because we don't do anything to take away their strengths, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's I didn't even want to dive into the defense or offense. I wanted to make the point which we will. I just wanted to make this point first. We see what works and we see what doesn't work. And it's so night and day different. And the fact that this freaking team still can't translate it to the road at all is frustrating. I know the team's going to be better at home, but it is so drastic. And I'm sitting here going into this game, Eric. This is why I'm so pissed. I'm sitting here going into this game okay, you know what? This team played 4 home games. They saw what worked. They were able to get enough home games in a row that maybe it's going to be a little bit more instinctual. And the team is talking about, oh, yeah, we don't have to think about as much things defensively, and we're making progress, and we're feeling good. And it's every time, even in past years, every time this team talks about, oh yeah, we like where we're headed, the next game is a freaking letdown and an absolutely stupid game. right?
Yep.
This game was played so stupidly, especially on the offensive end, which I know we score 121 points, but down the stretch, that was infuriating. The decision-making in this game offensively from the backcourt, and it's not just CJ, it's Dame. Dame, I thought this was his worst decision-making game of the entire season. I mean, some of his shots that he shot there in the fourth quarter were like, what the hell are you doing? We got a big man, Eric, who is dominating them, and we can't even get him the ball. I know he sat out for a good portion of the fourth quarter.
But it's not like we did in the third quarter when he was still in there. Yeah.
But yeah, he's dominating. Bro, he's feasting. He's crushing them. It's the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento. Nurkic always has phenomenal games in Sacramento. Phenomenal, right? And he has a phenomenal first quarter, phenomenal first half. He's crushing them. And we're just selling for all these stupid, like, isolation. Let's try and drive straight to the baseline and just walk out of bounds like 4 times in this game, one-on-one. And then let's shoot a 30-footer that gets almost blocked and not even hit rim. And it's just, it's freaking infuriating the way this offense went tonight. Because you got a guy who's just beasting up. I mean, Yusuf Nurkic had a great game, 28 points, phenomenal game. And it's like, Dame hit some shots and Powell hit some shots, but it was like, we would move the ball a little bit and get a good shot, which Sacramento's not a good defense. And then we'd go and ISO and do some stupid, like, mid-range pull-up from CJ, and he would drive into 3 guys, and Dennis Smith Jr. a few times in the second half driving into 3 guys, and trying to, like, Dame pulling 30-footers with a hand in his face, like, horrible looks. That was infuriating on top of just the pathetic defensive effort as well.
And on top of the isolation, it's like Dame and CJ, like a lot of the times we're trying to ISO Davion Mitchell, and I'm sorry, but that's not a guy you want to try to isolate very often. I know he's a rookie, and he committed some fouls. Dame in the third quarter got to the line a few times on him. But for the most part, he was staying in front of them. They weren't getting by him. They weren't getting good shots, and they continually tried to ISO him. And that was just the wrong move.
You gotta know your defender.
Right.
You gotta, like, this reminds me, Eric, that reminds me of when they played Philly and Philadelphia and just tried to isolate Matisse Thybulle consistently, and it led to a loss. And now we got Davion Mitchell. I know he's a rookie. He's a phenomenal on-ball defender, just like Matisse Thybulle is. And what do? We do the same freaking crap because we don't learn.
But yeah, that complacency that you talked about is frustrating. Once again, we get down, I think it was 20-12 or 8-10 points, like right away in the first quarter.
18 points in like 4 minutes.
Yeah. And they were on pace for like 216 points after the first 4 minutes. But we just, I feel like, when they start talking, like you said, about, oh, we're ahead of schedule, or we're doing better, like we're playing the right way now, and they always come out flat the next game. So maybe take that to the bank next time. And
I don't want to hear them talk, bro. Show me on the court, okay? Don't sit here after a homestand like, we're making progress, because you've been great on the home court since game 2. So it's like, this isn't anything new that you guys are dominating on your home court, especially teams missing guys, right? Like, cool, whatever. Play good on the road. Like, that's what pisses me off, is when a team will sit there and talk about progress, right? But then they go out and do that. Like, dude, it's, oh my God. Like, that part is so infuriating to me. Like, they needed to come into the game like, we got to prove it on the road. We've played good at home, but we have not proven ourselves on the road. We need to go out and prove it on the road. And instead, it's like, we like where we're headed. And then they come in and like, oh, Eric, I'm so pissed, dude.
And the other frustrating part is Nurkic, when he has it going, he can score, he can pass, he can run the offense. Like, there's no reason to not play through him and just keep exploiting that. Like, the fact that we went away from that in the second half is just mind-boggling to me. We probably win this game going away if we just have a little better game plan in the second half to not ISO and to play a little better on pick and roll defense. And that's just really frustrating that we're continually giving away games like this with just resorting back to the crap that we know doesn't work in this league.
Yeah, I mean,
unless someone makes incredibly, like, Dame could have hit some of those shots, but it doesn't mean it's good offense, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we had so many situations where, like, off-ball screens, we guarded them terribly. There was no help on screens. Like, Buddy Hield would come off, and the guard who was guarding him would struggle to get through the screen. He'd just be able to launch a three. It should not be so easy for teams that they just gotta set a pin down for Buddy Hield, or, you know, a down screen around the elbow, and he can just pop to the top of the three-point arc and has an open look. Like, that's pathetic, Eric. That's such a basic thing. Like, dude, I'd have ran that every time down, because Buddy Hield always kills us. He always crushes us. I hate playing Buddy Hield. I hate when the Blazers play him, man. And it's like, he's a shooter, so run him off the three-point line. And it's like, instead, we have no help with the screen, and our guards are just dying on screens again. Like, it's like they don't either make the effort to get through screens the same way as they do at home, or they just, like, forget how to. I don't know which it is, but it's like all of a sudden our guards can't navigate a screen anymore, and then we will help sometimes we won't, and we'll give up a bucket because of it. But when we do help and then they start moving the ball, we're so extremely slow at reacting to it, and it's just a night and day difference. And it's so frustrating because I don't understand, dude. Like, I don't understand how a home crowd can invigorate a team that much more than they play on the road. I know it can play a factor, but that much more, dude. It's like a G League team and a championship caliber team.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate to keep harping on it, but the off-ball screens, navigating through picks, the way we do it on the road, it's just, you're not going to win many games playing the way we played on the road this year. And it's weird because I've seen them, those same exact plays, same exact pick and roll situations, get through picks at times this year and do it well, and the big helps and recovers, or whoever's guarding the guy off ball screening flashes and cuts him off, and then they have a little longer route to get to the ball, and then it results in a more contested shot or whatever. We do that at home. It doesn't make sense to me. That's not something that shouldn't be going away just because we're playing away from Portland. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but it seems like almost every game, even the one we won in Houston, we did a horrible job. They just didn't have a lot of shooters on their team, so they couldn't exploit it. But we just go back to the defense of prior years, and I think that word you used is infuriating, and that's exactly how I feel. It's frustrating and infuriating.
It's just like, I can't buy into the progress this team has shown at home. Like, this team, what they've done at home, when they're playing at their best, they look better than when they were playing at their best last year or the year before. You know what I mean? So that's what makes this so hard to deal with. This is like, you see it when they do the right things and make an effort to do the right things, and they hustle through screens, and they rotate quick enough, and they have good contests instead of just running by the shooter lazily. Like, this team is good defensively at home when they just do the right things. And I know you might not have as much energy on the road, but, like, a lot of the little things break down that aren't necessarily, like, it shouldn't be the case that we can't close out and we can't get through a screen and we can't rotate quick enough. That's the part that's so frustrating to me, man. I just... Yep. I'm so tired of, having to talk about two separate freaking teams. I want to talk about the Portland Trailblazers, but it's like I have to talk about two separate teams. I'm so tired of that, man. It's just, I was feeling really good after that last game because we're on a 4-game winning streak. And I was going into this game, just show some progress on the road. And we showed absolutely none. And it's such a disappointment.
Well, let's catch up on some donations before we get any further.
Shaggy Squid, $5 Australian dono. He says, "Welp, this game helped my trade Rocco for Bagley agenda. We gotta stop losing these games if we want to be seen as contenders." Shaking my head, so much pain. Trading Rocco for Bagley is a horrible idea, by the way, but appreciate the $5 Australian.
Bagley had his first 5 minutes of good play the entire season, and that helps his agenda somehow. Yep.
That's the thing is,
his own crowd was booing him before the end of this game earlier. So yeah, shout out to him for stepping up after that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's not a good idea, man. Shout out Reese Cooley, $2 dono. He says, hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. 2 thumbs up. Yeah, I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Thankfully, the Blazers don't have a road game tomorrow, so we'll be able to enjoy the day. Appreciate the $2 dono, Reese.
Happy Thanksgiving, Reese.
Yep. Shout out Mills Welsh, $5 dono. He says, bro, how you get to walk off the inbound line and then get to call a timeout after, what is he referencing there?
So at the end of the game, Sacramento Kings muffed the inbounds pass. We were down 4, I think, at the time.
Yeah, I stopped watching the last, after they went up 7 with that Bagley 3, I stopped watching.
Yeah, so we scored. I think Nas hit a 3, and then they actually, I forgot who it was, maybe Bagley, threw it to Halliburton, who was out of bounds, and then stepped over the line. And then Alvin Gentry tried to call a timeout after that happened, and they granted him the timeout. So it should have been our ball.
So another pathetic referee mistake?
Yeah. Yep.
This was the worst referee game I've ever seen. Absolutely horrendous.
I wouldn't say worst ever, but yeah, it was pretty bad.
Dude, I can't remember a worse, the calls they were making down the stretch, and I'm just talking both ways, because there were some horrible calls on Sacramento. There were some horrible calls on Portland. Fox getting ejected was horrible. Rocco getting ejected was soft as hell. This referee crew had no control of the game. The third and fourth quarter, it was like both teams were in the penalty with 7-8 minutes left. Maybe it's different in the fourth quarter.
Portland couldn't take advantage of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and then it's we have them in the penalty with 8 minutes left, Eric, right?
We had 9:03 left in the fourth quarter, and I don't think we shot a free throw until the very the last minute when James got some free throws off going for 2 instead of 3s when we needed 3s.
Yeah, we have them in the penalty for 9 freaking minutes, and all we can do is shoot 30-footers and contested step-back jumpers and then just try and ISO and dribble out of bounds on the baseline. That's what made it even worse. It's when Dame was attacking, he was getting to the line all the time. Or sucking in the defense, kick out pass, maybe one extra pass, open 3. And it was working like a charm. That's how we were able to score 121 points in this game. That's why it's so frustrating when he shoots 2 or 3 just horrible 3-pointers that a couple of them don't even hit rim. And then CJ ISOs and shoots a mid-range contested pull-up even though he hasn't been hitting that all game. And we have them in the freaking penalty. That's the brain-dead stuff that I talk about on the road, where it's we don't recognize situations. We're not aware. We're not an aware basketball team, man. You gotta attack them, put them in foul trouble. Maybe, the refs were calling a lot. Dame, I don't know how many free throws he had in this one, but when he attacked, he got to the line almost every time. And he stops doing it. I just don't understand. I don't understand the logic there.
He had 16 free throws.
16 freaking free throws. Yeah, so why are you settling for freaking 30-footers contested off a pick and roll? If you are getting to the line
in the bonus, yeah.
And you're in the bonus. I just, that type of stuff, Eric, is what's infuriating, because I don't understand it. It's so, it doesn't logically make sense. There's nothing logical about it.
Mm-hmm. See, that's a weak team when we're trying to be a tough team, and trying to, Chauncey comes from an era where the Pistons didn't do that crap, so, why are we doing it,
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, the refs were just horrible in this game. That was a horror. That just adds to the pain and agony from this one. I mean, I don't even know what else to say on that. But yeah, that's just ridiculous. I didn't watch the last 30 seconds. I was too mad. I started just prepping to get the stream going right away because I wanted to rant. But yeah, so just another play they messed up. Another ridiculous, stupid play. Shout out Mills Welch for the $5 dono.
And then CJ got a 5-second call. I don't know if you missed that too.
Oh, of course he did.
So we got the ball. I think we were down 4. So if we hit a 3, we foul, we'd still get a chance to tie.
Mm-hmm.
And CJ couldn't get the ball inbounded. Got a 5-second call.
At some point, you just gotta throw it up for somebody.
Yep. He was about to, and then he kind of faked and brought the ball back, and then got 5. It's just stupid, but the play call wasn't very good either, but you still got to throw it in. You have to have that clock counting in your head.
Yep. Shout out Ishfluent, $2 dono. He says, selfish guard play iced Nurkic out of the game, shaking my head, and you got to feed the beast when he has it going like that. They didn't have anybody to guard him. Nurkic has been finishing good all year. He just needs shot opportunities. Like, he's not a guy that's going to, oh, I have 28 points this game. I'm going to go get the ball and do a triple crossover, snatch back, combo, step back three, and hit another shot. He ain't Dame. He ain't CJ. He needs the ball fed to him, right? Set a cross screen set for him to get him good interior position, have him at the opposite elbow, and set a back screen for him to go to ball across the key for good position, or just post him up, or just, run a pick and roll and, look for him and try and feed him, right? Involve him. And we just completely went away from that when it was our bread and butter this entire game. It's just everything, I feel like I'm forgetting stuff, too. Everything about this game was just so illogical. It's just, I don't know, dude. I don't know how to explain any of this stuff, but yeah, you gotta feed the beast.
And the worst part is, well, first of all, Nurk kind of took himself out in the second half with a couple of dumb fouls.
But that's after they weren't feeding him.
Yeah, I know. They should have done a better job of continuing that, and maybe he, doesn't commit those, but still, you gotta avoid the fouls on the perimeter, just stupid holding a guy as he's going through off ball, stuff like that. You gotta stop doing that if you're Nurk. I think he'll learn that eventually, but that's kind of his own fault. But this team had Marvin Bagley, who had done nothing all year, Damian Jones, Fox gets ejected, Barnes, I think he got hurt, wasn't even playing in the fourth quarter. So we got beat by their a bunch of players that hadn't really contributed a lot. It's just really frustrating.
Yeah. And then our kind of
our guys are doing dumb. Yeah.
Guys, Dennis Smith Jr., I liked his first half. He came in and kind of changed the complexion of this game defensively in the first half. In the second half, I thought he was awful. And he played too much. He got shook by a Buddy Hield in and out move, man. And he drove into traffic multiple times without a plan. And I don't know, man. He still ended up playing a ton of minutes there in the second half, where I felt like they should have just put Norm at the 2 and play Nas a little bit more and play Nance a little bit more. I don't know how many minutes Nance ended up playing in this game, but it's I was like, okay, he's going to play a lot because Rocco got ejected right before half. And Nance starts the second half with Nurkic, and then they both get subbed out. And then Nance doesn't get back in until midway through the fourth.
Big surprise, yeah.
What the hell? Why did he sit for a whole 12-minute stretch there?
I don't know.
That's horrible. That's horrible, man. I don't know. I don't know. I'm all over the place, but what are your thoughts on the minutes handling? What are your thoughts on that?
Didn't like it at all. I was really excited is not the right word, but the silver lining of Rocco getting ejected was seeing Nance with the starters at the beginning of the quarter, and seeing some mixed different lineups. But I felt like that lineup, we lost the game with that lineup at the end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter.
That wasn't in the game. We had Snell and Zeller at the 4 and the 5 for a stretch there.
And it's just I don't. And two, so yay, we get Nance starting the second half, but then the guards just ISO the whole time. We run pick and roll and ISO every play. We don't do anything to get them involved with some action like we did in the first half, which want to bring up a play in Brent's breakdown later. But yeah, I thought they had a really good first half playing together, and then they didn't do any of those things that made them good in the first half together in the second half. It's just frustrating.
Yep, and they had 71 in the first half. Eric, they had 50 in the second half against a horrid Sacramento defense. So you could look at things 121, the offense not a problem, but the offense in the second half was a problem. We still could have won this game if we were just competent offensively.
Yep.
And that's the furious. We could have just been not absolutely horrible defensively and we would have won this game. We could have just been like somewhat competent offensively and we would have won this game. Like there were so many opportunities for us to take care of this. That's why it's so frustrating, man. Is there's just like we had to go wrong every step of the way to lose to a Sacramento team that loses De'Aaron Fox to an ejection. But Harrison Barnes isn't playing down the stretch. They don't have Rashawn Holmes. Like they've been playing horrible. Brand new coach. Everything had to go wrong. And everything did. And everything did. So it's a whole package. The offense, the defense, the rotations, everything.
Yep.
Let's link the rest of the donos. Shout out to Portland Too Fresh, $5 dono. He says first round exit team. They haven't played against a team that's healthy except the Suns and Bulls, even though they're missing Vucevic. Trade CJ while you can. Okay, Portland Too Fresh. That's thank you for the $5 dono. I don't even want to talk about that one though.
Well, hey, I got a response.
Where was he when we won?
I'm pretty sure Portland Too Fresh was one of the guys saying, "Oh, you beat the Suns, but it was off a back-to-back." Well, this was a back-to-back to us, so where's the excuse for us tonight when you use that excuse several times throughout this season? And we also lost Rocco and didn't have Ant for this game, so we weren't healthy either. So, yeah.
I appreciate the $5 dono. Just because you donate doesn't mean we're not going to give our honest opinions on whatever message you write with it, though. Normally we'll be pretty nice, but today, not so much necessarily. I mean, this team at home has been elite. We beat Memphis was healthy when we played them. We beat them. I don't remember, some of the other games off the top of my head, but like most teams aren't healthy. You know what I mean? Like. I don't know, whatever. Shout out Tom Fisher. What's up, Tom? With the $5 dono. He says, just take my money. Blazers lost and Barnes hurt. The worst possible outcome. I love you guys. Appreciate you, Tom. Tom, the Blazer
love
fan.
You too, Tom.
Harrison Barnes is his guy, though. And, yeah, that's the bad double whammy there. But appreciate the $5 dono from Tom. Shout out Dro.
Hopefully Barnes is okay.
Yeah, hopefully, because he's been having a really good season. Shout out Dro, $2 dono. He says, Dame and CJ have zero trust in their teammates. I don't think it's necessarily that. I don't know. It's just like we don't run stuff down the stretch. We just ISO on the road. It's like we go back to all our bad old habits on the road. And at home, we do the right things. We have new habits at home, but on the road we do the stupid stuff that we used to do.
Well, it's like, too, Norm was on fire in the second half. He hit a bunch of shots, but we ran no sets for him to get an open shot, but we were continuing to run sets for Dame and CJ to get pick and rolls and ISOs. But where's Norm attacking? And that Davion wasn't guarding Norm. It was usually Halliburton or Buddy Hield or whatever on him, so he could take those guys off the dribble. And so really should have exploited that more as well. It's just, yeah.
Yep. Shout out to Daniel G, $5 dono. He says, can we talk about trades now, please? Because CJ really needs to go. His ISO is killing the team. Rip City, keep having faith. This was game number 19. I said I'm not going to talk trades until at least 20 games in. And I talked a couple trades on the mailbag. But
hey, Friday night.
Yeah. So I don't know.
We're going to get so much.
But here's the thing, what? You guys want me to toss out names that we can't realistically get for at least another couple months? What do you guys want trade-wise? Oh, yeah, CJ for Siakam would be great. They're not going to trade Siakam for at least another couple months. They're not going to trade him tomorrow or next week. That's why I've been holding off on it, and people want me to talk trades, and it's just I don't understand, because it's not anything that matters until at least a couple months from now. So I played in the middle and said 20 games in. We'll start to maybe discuss some things, but it's just going to be the same stuff we discussed all offseason. If you're new to the channel, then maybe, you want to hear us talk trades because you haven't really heard us talk trades, but this whole offseason, all the targets we brought up are going to be the same targets in a CJ trade. You know what I mean? And it's I don't know. This roster can be good enough if they just do what they do at home, in my opinion. So that's where I'm sitting here, just figure it out on the freaking road, please. There's no excuse for this. There's no reason for this. So just figure it out.
Yeah, and I want to say something about CJ. Do you want me to wait for the next like 18 donations that are all about CJ too, or do you want me to just
Yeah.
talk about it now? Okay,
I mean,
just read them all off, and then I'll talk about CJ, all addressing all of it.
Alrighty. Shout Carlton Pagano Jackson, $5 dono. He says, frustrating as this is, we'll get over this hump sooner than later. It's a mindset on the road, simply put. Happy Thanksgiving to you both. Much love. Appreciate you, Carlton.
Thank you, Carlton. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yeah,
as well.
yours wasn't included, I guess, in the next one.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, his was pretty positive.
But yeah, I agree that it's a mindset that they just do not have yet, and I don't know what it's going to take. I still believe the right play is to have a super aggressive game plan, no matter because we're playing the Warriors on Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get any shot they want against our defense right now on the road. So why not just try to like get them out of their comfort zone and try to force them into some turnovers or do something? And our best few minutes of this game was when we did force some turnovers like last game and got out and ran on the break, got several easy baskets that way. So yeah, I'd rather just come out and at least if you're giving up open threes, it's because you tried to force a turnover or get the ball out of like Curry's hands or something like that and make someone else beat you. But if we just like sit back and play some conservative defense, I just think we're going to lose right off the bat. So within the first few minutes of that game, I think you could probably tell what their mindset is, and hopefully it's better.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to read these a little bit out of order. Shout Kyle Wilson, $2 dono. He says, a Thanksgiving question, are you a turkey or a ham guy? I'm a turkey guy. I'll put a poll question in chat, though. What are you, Eric?
I like both, but you got to go turkey on Thanksgiving just for the tradition of it.
Yeah. So turkey,
happy Thanksgiving to you, though, Kyle.
Yeah. Turkey or ham? There's a chat poll for you guys. Shout Near 012, been a member for 16 months. His monthly member message is, I wanted to use this before next month. As bad as the lineups were, we have to remember that Chauncey is still learning. And yeah, it's just like, I feel like it's... in some situations, it's not getting better. Like, he has to get better with minutes. And, like, some situations, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why not? Why did Nance play so little in the second half when we didn't have Rocco? And we were a +8 with Nance in the game. Like, Nance, we played our best defense of the game when Nance was in the game. You see Nurkic and Nance hook up on a... Nurkic has a short roll and a lob to Nance in, like, their first minutes together pretty much all season. And it's like, we need a guy like Nance in the game, man. I don't know. He only plays 20 minutes tonight. Dennis Smith Jr. plays 20 minutes tonight. And you'll say, oh, they play different positions. Dennis Smith's a point guard. Dennis Jr. is a power forward / center. But, I mean, move Norm down to the 2. Nas played a lot of 4 tonight. Snell played 5 minutes, and I'm pretty sure it was all at the 4 tonight. Slide those guys down to the 3. Slide Norm down to the 2. Slide CJ and Dame down to the 1 a little bit more. Like, there's no reason why Smith should be playing as many minutes as Nance tonight. I know they play different positions, but we have positionally versatile players on this team, and you can work things out in a way where everybody's playing positions they're comfortable, and Nance plays 30 minutes and Smith maybe plays 10. So I don't understand the even amount of minutes there.
Yep.
Shout out to... Yeah, here we go. Here's the 2 CJ donos. Eric, I know you're about ready for this. Shout out to Shaggy Squid, $5 dono. He says, problem with CJ is, if he isn't hitting, he provides nothing.
Nothing, dude. Nothing.
Yeah, dude, because if you have, like, a really good offensive scorer on the other team and he doesn't have it going, you're just going to let him, like, do whatever and just not guard him and not pay attention to him and not actually, like, spend defensive resources with good defenders thrown up against him. You're just going to put your worst defender on him because he just doesn't have it going, and you're just going to live with that, right? That's just how it works. Absolutely not. Dono says... Playmaking, rarely defense, rarely rebounding, barely how can we contend if he isn't hot? So shout out Shaggy Squid with a $5 dono. I'll let you rant after this. Play-by-play, $20 dono. Appreciate it, play-by-play. That's huge, man. He says, this is definitely an overreaction, but I am really done with CJ, man. I know this game wasn't on him completely, but man, he was horrific, especially down the stretch. We shouldn't need our fans' energy to beat the damn Kings. I agree with that last part, but were you done with CJ last game when he had 32 and was phenomenal? Like, were you done with CJ last night? Like, I don't know, because that's the thing is like CJ has good games, CJ has bad games. He's still a good player, like a really good player, and for people to be outright done with him after every bad game and then just quiet when he has a good game, it's just like, I don't know, it gets a little frustrating. Just criticize what he does wrong, but everything's like, I'm just done with him. He can't do anything unless he makes shots. He's overrated. Like, it's just a bunch of stuff like that. Just criticize what he did wrong in the game. That's what I try and do, and I was furious with him in this game. Eric, what were your thoughts on CJ?
CJ was terrible tonight. No doubt about it. So once again, not disputing that. If you want to talk trades with CJ, I am all for that. If it's the right piece coming back, I don't think cutting him or addition by subtraction is correct. But
Yeah,
I mean, in my opinion, okay. So, I'm trying to think of how to word this. You have a guy like CJ. You're not just going to eliminate everything that's bad about him, especially in the first quarter of a season where you're trying to initiate a ball movement offense and trying to get away from this stuff. But I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. You kind of disagreed a little bit with me, but this is where I have a problem with the coaching staff. When CJ's playing like this, when Dame's playing like this, there needs to be some sort of concerted effort to run some set plays. We talked about how Nurk didn't get, rarely many opportunities in the first half, certainly very little compared to the first half in the second half. So to me, that's when you call a timeout and be like, okay, next 3 plays, we're going to Nurk in the post, or we're going to pass it to him at the top of the key, and I want this kind of action up ball, whatever. And I felt like the coaches just are allowing, especially on the road, them to just get this way, and we don't do anything to alter that or change it. It's just like they're allowing it to happen. And I'm encouraged by CJ in the fact that he's shown flashes of being a good playmaker. He's shown flashes of being good within a set offense where he gets catch and shoot shots instead of having to ISO. He's shown flashes of plays where he can, or nights where he can be efficient, nights when he can pass the ball well. He had 6 assists tonight. I know it didn't seem like it, but and the 4 turnovers kind of counteract that, but it's not like he did absolutely nothing other than shoot tonight. He got 5 rebounds, 6 assists. But he
does like nothing if he doesn't make shots. Those just don't count. Just ignore those because it doesn't fit the narrative, Eric.
And here's the bottom line: is you kind of started saying this, but having CJ on the floor makes the defense have to account for him, and that's what. One of the few times I've defended Stotts is when he kind of said that was, I think it was Quick that asked him, like, what does CJ do if he's not making shots? And Stotts was kind of like, well, I mean, the defense always has to account for where he is on the floor. And you can't say that about, like, Robert Covington or even, like, Norman Powell. They don't focus as much as CJ on. And so that's why I think it goes back to the coaching. It's such a disservice to these guys to play the style we played in the second half of this game, because we've shown now this style does not work long term. Sure, one of those 2 can get hot. They're really good shooters. They can make contested, faded away shots all day in some games. But that's not what gets you to be a good team and a consistent team. And the fact that we keep resorting back to this in road games leads me to believe that this coaching staff does not recognize when it's happening during the game. And that's something that is correctable in my mind down the road once the donation or the comment by Near Zero, I think it was, that I was talking about Billups is still learning. So that's something that he's not quite there yet on recognizing within the flow of the game whether Dame he should let Dame go ISO or let CJ take over versus continuing to run a structured offense that was working. And I think that's just going to take some time for Billups to recognize that within the flow of the game. I'm sure when he goes back and looks at film on all these games, he's like kicking himself, like, why didn't I see this at this point in the game? Like, we needed this to happen, and I allowed this to go. And so, yeah, that's why Dennis Smith, he really stood out in the first half. You know, he had a really bad second half. But in the first half, he came in and he just played good defense and he ran the offense. And it wasn't like he wasn't hunting for a shot. In fact, he probably hurts us at times by not shooting the open three when he gets a clean look. But he just came in and just passed the ball. The ball was moving. It wasn't sticking around. We're making good decisions on offense. Nurk was getting the ball. This is such a subtle thing, but I'm telling you, this makes a huge difference to a guy like Nurk. So Nurk got the ball in the post, didn't really have a good shot, kicks it out to Dennis Smith Jr. He immediately passes it right back to Nurk. Nurk spins and lays it in off the glass. And little things like that are just so important. And I feel like our other guards, like if Nurk kicks it out there, they're shooting a three or they're ISOing or calling for a pick and roll situation instead of just giving it right back to Nurk. And so I thought in the first half we were doing such a good job of taking advantage of our size and mismatches and stuff. And then in the second half, we just completely went away from that. And I can't put that 100% on CJ, even though he's got to be better and recognize that himself. But, I mean, this is a guy who for years has been depended on to make those kind of shots and to lead the second unit and score and pretty much be the offense. So it's just going to take some time for Chauncey to get this team to the point to where they need to play the right way. So I haven't given up on CJ yet. He's bound to have some ups and downs throughout the season, but hopefully as the season goes along, those are less and less.
I just hate how it's so black and white for people, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, forget the fact that he had 6 assists tonight, Eric. You know, Dro says in chat, let me find it. He says, Eric, CJ just doesn't want to pass the ball, even if the coach tells him to pass. It's not black and white where he just doesn't want to pass the ball or he wants to pass the ball. Like, I hate how people will strip the necessary nuance to have a conversation about CJ from the conversation about CJ. They'll just strip out all the nuances, just like he doesn't want to pass. Okay, we had 6 assists tonight. Oh, he doesn't want to pass. But like, if the dude doesn't want to pass, how does he end up with 6 assists? Now he forced way too many shots and was a little bit selfish with his shot selection, and I thought played a horrible game. But I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, the dude with 6 assists, yeah, he just didn't want to pass. He never wants to pass. Like, I hate when the argument becomes that, because it's not even a conversation. At that point, you're just saying stuff just to say stuff. So let's have a conversation, because you make a bunch of valid points, and now we're chatting, it's a bunch of people, like the people disagreeing with you, they're not addressing anything you're saying. It's not even a conversation based on what you're saying, Eric. It's just, we've just been doing this for 6 years. Like, when are we going to move on? Like, just have a conversation. Eric's laying things out for you. You can disagree with what he says. Sometimes I disagree with what he says on CJ, you know, but just address what he says. Like, that's the whole point. It's a conversation, and we can have a disagreement and have it be a conversation. But in regards to CJ and Nurkic at times this season, it's not a conversation because all the nuance and context is just absolutely thrown out the window for people's narratives and what they already think instead of what's being said or what's actually playing out on the court.
And to Dro's point, I mean, come on, man. Your coach is 100%. His whole philosophy is accountability. Put an address on it. Do things the right way, right? And so you're telling me if he wants him to pass the ball more and CJ's not doing it, that's on CJ? When your coach is stressing accountability? That's not accountability, man. That's just letting your players do whatever they want because, he's our second best player or whatever. I'm not going to hold him accountable. So this is the problem with accountability. It has to be the same for everyone. And I keep saying that. So if CJ's out there not passing the ball and Coach Billups calls a timeout and be like, CJ, you need to pass the ball in this situation. Don't take this ISO stuff. And then he ISOs the next play and takes a bad shot. He should be on the bench. Like, he should not be in the game. And if Chauncey Billups is true to himself and his coaching philosophies, he needs to do that at some point to send a message.
Yeah.
But
and here's let me make a point onto that. After how bad CJ had played this entire game, he's still playing crunch time minutes, the last 4 or 5 minutes. Nurkic subs in and Nance subs out. We're running Dame, CJ, Norm, Nas, Nurkic there at the end of the game. Why don't we slide Powell down to the 2, Nas down to the 3, and play Nance at the 4 with Nurkic at the 5, and CJ doesn't play the last 4 minutes? If CJ was bad tonight. He was bad defensively. He was bad offensively. He made a lot of dumb decisions. At some point, you don't play him in the crunch time lineup because there have been 5 other players that have had better games than him. Powell played better than him. Nurkic played better than him. Nas played better than him. Nance played better than him. He didn't score a lot, but he does the little things and he plays smart. But Nance doesn't play. CJ does. So it's like, at what point are we going to, as a coaching staff, prioritize the little things and give a guy like Nance minutes in a situation like this over a guy like CJ McCollum, and move Powell down to 2 and Nas down to 3, which is their more natural positions? That makes perfect sense to me, but CJ still plays like pretty much the entire fourth quarter. Or I think he played like the entire fourth quarter and the last 2 minutes of the third. He played 14 minutes to end the game.
14 straight minutes on a not back-to-back situation, too.
Yeah, Chauncey has to be better with that type of stuff. Right? Like, that's where the accountability comes in. And Chauncey could do a better job holding CJ McCollum accountable for some of his isolation and poor shot selection, and he doesn't, at least in terms of minutes. And that's a problem. And Chauncey needs to get better about that.
Oh, yeah. So Charlie says you can't argue with CJ stands. They'll bring up some game from 4 weeks ago.
Oh, so he's just ridiculous. So, see, he's just ridiculous. Okay.
The game,
he's one of those.
So okay. The last game, yeah. The last game. Last night, 24 hours ago, we were talking about it, not 4 weeks ago.
Bro, maybe the dude's off a bender and just has no sense of time. I don't know, man. Maybe that game happened 4 weeks ago in his mind.
But that's the other thing, too, okay? CJ had a bad game, right? But he had a great game last night. Like, so that's another reason why accountability, too, isn't just, like, necessarily benching him in those situations. But if Chauncey is actually telling him to run a play, don't ISO, don't take a bad shot in this situation, and he does it, that's when you bench him. But if he's just missing shots and Chauncey's not telling him not to take those shots or to get a better shot or whatever, then that's on Chauncey, in my opinion. But you also have to stick with your guys sometimes if they're trying to do what you're doing and they're just missing shots. Like, that's not necessarily on CJ, like I said. So and I don't know, it's so dumb. Like you were talking about, there's no nuance. It's like you either have to hate CJ and trade him, or you're a stan that he can do no wrong. It's like you don't even listen to anything we say. It's just, I don't even know why people watch shows like this that don't even listen to like some sort of back and forth. There's no discussion. It's either he's trash or he's the GOAT, right? And there's no in between.
I would love it if somebody came with like a nuanced take of like why they can't stand like CJ McCollum, right? I saw Neil Olshey, which could have fit there too, but it's just have a conversation based on like actual stuff, It's just like, he's not good enough to be a second option on a championship team. Oh, well, what about Chris Middleton was a second option on a championship team? Is he that much better than CJ McCollum? Oh, well, Giannis is just better than Dame. You know what I mean? Like, that's the, what are we talking about? What are we talking about, man? Let's take the donos and then move on from this, because I'm about over this CJ McCollum conversation. I think he played absolutely horrible tonight. A CJ stan wouldn't say that.
I mean, I said that too.
I've been mad at him multiple times this year, man. I'm just not gonna buy into cliches and stuff like that. I'm going to talk about what happened and not ignore nuance in favor of my emotion. So this is the most pissed off I've been on any post-game show. I'm still not going to ignore nuance or what happened on the court, the little things. I'm not going to just throw that out the window to just rage at CJ. I'm gonna rage based on reality. Shout out play-by-play, $20 dono, another one, appreciate it, play-by-play. He says, I just feel like what CJ does best isn't done at the level or consistency I would want for a guy we're spending superstar money on. I love the guy, but his production has basically been the same for 5 years straight. That's a better argument than what we're hearing, Eric. I mean, I don't agree with it, but it's a better argument than some of the other stuff in here.
Okay. The 5 years straight, 6 years straight stuff. I don't understand. We have a new coach. We've seen times this year where it has been different. Yes, there's always going to be times where he resorts back to the player he was. But I mean, that player is good. It's not like he's trash. I don't. Yeah. It's like give Chauncey a chance. You've mentioned this several times this year. How Paul George credits Chauncey for helping with his playmaking. His assist and playmaking numbers, analytics all go up last year, right? Mm-hmm. Like give CJ that same chance with Chauncey to kind of develop that. And games like this should hopefully build upon learning and being like, okay, so this is what we don't want to do. Now you don't want to have too many more of these. Like at some point you have to learn. But to sit here 19 games in and say, and this isn't excusing anything, because I said multiple times this is a coaching issue and this is something that the coach is not holding accountable. But mm-hmm. it's a situation where you can't. It's just like it takes time to teach someone playmaking skills and how he doesn't have to do this. Like I said, a player who's been depended on to make these shots. Dame's had to hit these 30-footers because our stupid coach from the last couple of years never devised a way for our team to beat a trap when Dame gets double teamed. So he had to increase his range out to 35 feet so that he could shoot a ball before the trap could even come to him, right? Yeah. And stuff like that these two guards have had to deal with for years. It's not just going to change in a couple months under a new coach, no matter how hard Chauncey tries. So it's just, there's going to be regression at times. There's going to be times where CJ looks like he's the same old CJ, but there's also been times where, I mean, that one game against the Bulls, I think it was, where he basically took over the game with passing. He threw that lob to Nance and just had a great stretch of playmaking in that game. Like those things are still possible. And it's on Chauncey to get the most out of CJ and to get him to play like that if CJ is still on this team. And I think Chauncey will eventually do that. So
I just feel like we're kind of going in circles here with this conversation at this point. Mm-hmm. I mean, because like we'll hear the same thing next time CJ has a bad game. We've been dealing with this guy for 5 years. You know, it's funny how like people will say, oh, silly CJ stands bring up a game from 4 weeks ago that happened last night, and then they'll say, oh, it's been the same thing for 5 years, you know, 5 years ago he did this and now he does it. It's like, I don't know. That's hypocritical to me a little bit. I'm not saying play-by-play did that because he wasn't the one who said that. It's just funny how we'll get crap for talking about good he did this season and people will bring up past seasons. But, I mean, just, like, Chauncey has to hold him more accountable in terms of playing time, in my opinion. CJ has had good games where he's played exactly the way he needs to. I think he had a pretty perfect game last night, so that's why I'm frustrated with his game tonight, but it's like, you know, people say bench CJ one game, and then the next game they'll say, this take looks stupid now. And then the next game they'll say, bench CJ. And then the next game they'll say, CJ carried us tonight. And it's just like back and forth and all over the place and no consistency. I don't know, man. I don't know. Charlie Bullock says lob pass was like 2 weeks ago. It wasn't. We're talking about the one to Nance. That was not 2 weeks ago, man. But like, how dare we talk about a play 2 weeks ago, Eric, that CJ has never really made, but made recently. You know, how dare we? I don't want to go in circles more. It's just, that's the narrative, you know? It's just like, I don't know, dude. I don't want to spend too much more time on this.
Yeah, that was on our 4-game homestand, which was our last 4 games, but nice.
Yeah.
Daniel G with a $2 donation. CJ, he ISOs too much and makes bad decisions. Yeah, sure.
I mean, tonight he did.
Tonight he did, yeah.
Yeah,
And
shout out near 012 because I forgot his dono. He says CJ is a great player, but I'm on the side where he thinks that he needs his own team, but we still need this guy to be good. I mean, see, that's a valid opinion where you think he'd be better on his own team. Like, I don't know. I can't even necessarily disagree with that. But, I mean, he's still a really good player for us. He shouldn't be coming off the bench. People saying he should be a sixth man. He's better than every bench player in the league by a good margin. So, that's, yeah. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Do you want Chris, did you read Chris's message? Member for 7 months. Thanks, Chris. Should LNJ have closed over CJ tonight? Talk Norm too. Yeah, we'll get to Norm later.
But yeah, I made that point. Yeah, I forgot to read Chris. My bad. I forgot my own graphics guy. I skipped Chris and I skipped near 012. So there we got both of them.
Let me just find this real quick.
Daniel G $2 dono. He says, "Sorry, I meant tonight. That's my bad." So
yeah, that's all right.
All good.
Yeah. No, you're fine, man. We're not.
Yeah. Do you want me to read the other two donos first, or do you?
No, I found it. So Jing Valesso says, if CJ has an off night on the offensive side, he should play more effort on the defensive side. All right. First of all, completely agree with that. Second of all, this is the problem with ISO. It takes so much effort and so much energy to ISO. It's so much more than running a set play or moving around off ball. You have to go against someone, especially, like I said, when you're ISOing a tough defender like Davion Mitchell and doing that kind of stuff. That takes so much energy. So the ISOs, you would think if he's shooting bad on ISOs, just pick it up on defense. But that's the whole problem. When we play like this, then we see CJ get burnt off the dribble on a play where maybe if he wasn't so tired from trying to do all this crap on offense, he might have had enough energy to stay in front of Davion Mitchell on the other side of the ball and not get blown by for a lay-in or whatever. So I think that's the other side of this, is why ISOs are so detrimental if you're not hitting them, is because it takes such a toll on our guards to have to carry the offense through ISOs, and then when they're not hitting, it just compounds the fact that our defense is bad, and it can't happen, and that's why we need to avoid ISOing.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go ahead and read the other two, I guess.
Yeah, Neil O'Shea. Australian Neil O'Shea with an $8 Australian dono. He says, "I am not trading CJ. He is a versatile two-way guard who is an elite playmaker. CJ makes the right decision every play and has a very high basketball IQ." Shout out Australian Neil O'Shea for the $8 Australian dono. You guys heard it straight from the Australian man himself. CJ is too much of a two-way guard and too elite of a playmaker for Neil Olshey to trade. So there you go, straight from the source right there. And then Antonio D, $5 dono. He says, "We appreciate you guys doing these breakdowns better than the stuff on TV." Appreciate you, Thanks, Antonio, with the $5 dono. And that's my hope. Like, y'all can disagree with us. I don't care about that. It's just the arguments. I want people who disagree with us. I want their arguments to be better, Eric. Like, I would love to be challenged with an argument that disagrees with us, but it's not based on anything we're saying. It's just you'll make a bunch of great points and it won't be based on any of that.
Shaggy Squid's my guy, but he's saying, CJ has one great game out of 4, it's not worth it. It's you're just making stuff up because you hate CJ, dude. You're a CJ hater. That's I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just you're never going to give CJ credit, but
yeah, I mean,
and funny how you weren't. I mean, I know you're probably busy, but I didn't see much in here on all the games we were winning. It's only on a loss that you come in here and start hating on CJ again. But I didn't see much in the homestand
against Philly. He didn't shoot the 2 ball well, right? He's 4 for 9 from 3, 7 for 17 from the field. So efficiency wise, it's but he had 5 assists in that game and 6 rebounds, and I thought played good defense in that game. That was a good game from CJ. And then Denver, he was 13 for 19. That was a good game from CJ. And then Toronto, first game of the homestand, he was 11 for 18, 6 for 11 from the 3-point line with 6 assists, 29 points. That was a good game from CJ. 3 out of the 4 games on the homestand, he had good games. He struggled against Chicago, was 4 for 14, but had 5 assists that game as well. So it's not like he's sitting here like not making plays for others at all, like some people try and make it out to be. He had 3 good games on that homestand. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh, he struggled a bit against Chicago, and then he struggled tonight, and then so he's played good 3 out of his past 5 games, but people are just like, I am so over him. I can't stand him. Like, I don't know, man. It's a bunch of people that weren't saying anything. Those 3 games he played well.
Mm-hmm.
Or they were hating on him those 3 games he played well, you know? So that's just how it goes. That's the way it goes,
yeah.
man.
I'm sure I'm a few minutes away from getting those. See, you were wrong about this roster again, that we've lost again.
Yep. It's just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, so we're all caught up on donos. Let's look at team stats, then do branch breakdowns, and then we'll do player cards. We'll be a lot quicker with the player cards because I want to get to Chauncey's interview. So the player cards will spend max like a minute each. Team stats, Eric, 52% from the field. I feel like that's a recurring theme. Like every team shoots exactly 52% from the field against us. The damage wasn't really done on the 3-point line. We let them get 60 points in the paint. 60 points in the paint. Not good. And normally,
we had 58, but
yeah, and normally when we've had bad defensive games, it's been teams hitting threes on us, you know. But I mean, we let them get to the line 34 times. They only made 23 of those. So I mean, if they shoot better from the line, they at least have 130 if they shoot a decent percentage. Offensive rebounds were a problem. We have 13. That's been kind of our strength, is we're able to rebound better than most teams, but they have 14 offensive boards. So our strength did not present itself in this game. Turnovers were about even. Fast break points, we did not get out and run. Neither did the Kings. Any other stats that jump out here?
Yeah, I mean, once again, another team shoots over 50% from the field from us. Just can't happen. I mean, we need to find a way to get these percentages down, and until we do that, it's going to be very hit and miss. So yeah.
Yep, that is the team stats right there. Before we hop into branch breakdown, Turkey 70% in the chat poll. 70% of people rolling with Turkey, at least for Thanksgiving.
And we had a $10 donation from Gray Hughes Investigates. Have a great Thanksgiving, he says. You as well, Gray Hughes. Thank you for your support. CJ had the worst game I've ever seen a player have. Finally, Nurkic got the ball. Boom. He needs the ball more to get back to the Bosnian beast.
Yeah, we agree with that, man. I don't know if you were able to hear us earlier,
yep.
But I went on
definitely a bad game. Yep.
Yeah, I went on a whole rant about how we're shooting bad perimeter jumpers instead of feeding Nurkic and how infuriating that was. So appreciate your support as always, Gray, with the $10 dono.
Kings have 7 wins and 2 of them are against us.
Oh, it's so sad. All right, I mean, we're still above 500, right? Everything's good. We're fine. We're still above 500. Let's hop into branch breakdowns. I'm just trying to be optimistic right now because I know you probably got a couple of plays that are going to piss me off here.
Actually, the first 2 are positive. So,
all right,
they're all
start
from the
off with
first
some
half.
positivity.
So,
Yeah. What you got?
All right. So this first play is an exact replica of the play last night where we talked about where Nas was wide open in the corner and decided not to cut and took a contested 3. This time, same setup, only it's Nance in the corner, Little in the spot where I think CJ was last night. So Halliburton, as we go to the next slide, Nurk's going to get the ball in the middle or around the free throw line. And let me refresh my. And Bagley has to come up and commit to him. Halliburton is then stuck between Little and Nance, having to guard both of them. Nance, instead of staying in the corner, decides to cut on this play like we asked Nas to do last night, and Nurk throws it up for an easy tip-in because he cut to the basket. And if Halliburton would have come down sooner and cut off Nance, then Nurk could have easily kicked out to Nas for a wide open 3 in that situation.
He had all day.
Yep. And this is the kind of offense we were running in the first half, and we were getting good shots. And for some reason, inexplicably, complete opposite in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, Nurkic was able to have his way when they didn't commit a bunch of attention to him defensively, so then they started rotating to him even harder, and that's where you have an athletic guy like Larry Nance Jr. and Nasir Little cutting baseline in that situation. And yeah, I mean, this is why I want to see Nance and Nurkic play more.
Yep, and utilize Nurkic's passing ability. So he throws a great pass on the money to a cutting Nance, and we get an easy 2 out of it in a game where in the second half we don't get many easy baskets.
Yeah, so that's how that played out right there. That was maybe my favorite play of this game. Just that combination. We have not seen it. I want to see it. Want to see it. All right, play number 2. What you got?
So we talked a lot about, or I have this year, about how Nurk is a lot better, or he's almost unstoppable in when he gets the ball on the baseline or coming from the side versus straight at the basket. We saw him in the fourth quarter almost get a charge. He ended up getting an and one because Bagley was in the restricted area. But we've seen him plenty of times throughout the years get a charge in that situation and a turnover. This is why I like him coming from the side at an angle better. So he sets a off-screen, off-ball screen for CJ here, and then
this is otherwise called like a pin down screen. Yeah. It's basically a screen down for CJ to come up to the 3-point line and catch a pass.
This also has worked several times in a dribble handoff situation if Nurk would have the ball and handoff in this position on the floor.
Yeah. So
and so as we go to the next slide, Nurk slips the pick. CJ gets the ball. Len plays up too high. And right here, this is when you know they have an easy basket. So Len takes a step forward. He's out of position, and CJ can easily dump it off to Nurk. And as we see in the final slide, by the time Len gets back, Nurk is already at the basket and easily lays it in for 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, just stuff like that. We kind of went away from that in the fourth quarter. It was frustrating.
Yep, but this is a situation where if Len stops coming out on that, which, Len picked up a fourth foul and didn't come back in the rest of the game, but it's a situation where if they start playing Nurkic on that, then CJ is going to be wide open coming off that screen, and he'll have a wide open jump shot instead of having to force a tough shot with a defender in his face. So I really like this action, and it's really hard to stop for opposing defenses, and didn't see it once in the second half once again.
Yeah, and basically this just functions like a pick and roll, right? Like CJ doesn't start with the ball coming off the screen, but once he gets it, this is basically like a pick and roll sort of situation. But the defense isn't as ready to guard this play because it's off the ball. Right? It's not they're just set and know the screen is coming and communicate it and then set up against it, right? It's CJ flying off a pin down, and it's a little easier to get caught out of position. And it's really hard to rotate here. And like in this situation, if the guy guarding Robert Covington rotates to Nurkic, I wouldn't mind Covington, cutting to the opposite block, getting a dump off pass that should be a lay-in, right? So you can, if they send a third guy to this situation here, if you make the right cut, you can still get a lane with somebody else, and the only way they can stop that is to commit another guy to this action, and then you start hitting kick out passes, a Norman Powell or maybe Dame relocates, and you just work from there and you get good shots. That's what's so frustrating, is this team will run some stuff that works and they get away from it on the road in crunch time, and it has not gone well this season, and it has not gone well in the playoffs.
And yeah, for the most part in the second half, we're just basically running ISOs and just normal pick and rolls with very little off-ball movement, and I feel like it cost us the game.
Yep. Let's move on to play number 3. What you got for us, Eric?
So, kind of wish I could show the video of this, but this happens at least probably 10 to 12 times a game. And this is off a made Nurkic basket. Actually, I think it was that exact basket I just showed.
Well, let me see if there's a... Yeah, so that's 2:18 left in the second quarter.
Oh, no, it's not that. But so Nurk scored a different basket then.
Because he was scoring a lot when he got the ball.
He scored a lot in the first half. So this is a play where this drives me absolutely bananas. Okay, Dame does this, and it is the most frustrating thing ever. He'll just run down whatever side court he's on. He'll just pick up whatever guy's there, and then he'll just point at someone like they were supposed to immediately go and get whatever guy he's supposed to guard, right? Mm-hmm. So he did this, like I said, about 10 to 12 times. I stopped counting after a while, where he wasn't supposed to guard Mo Harkless, but he ended up guarding Mo Harkless in the corner because it was just convenient for him to do that. And this absolutely kills defenses. If you're Damian Lillard, you have to stop making these mistakes. So Robert Covington right here is supposed to guard the guy, I think that's Mo Harkless, on the bottom of the screen.
Yep.
Dame is sitting here. Instead of running to get to De'Aaron Fox right now, Dame's just pointing at Rocco, hey, turn around and go back and guard someone else that's not your guy. No, Dame. You have to sprint over there. You could easily have made it there before Rocco. His momentum's going towards you. You could have easily gotten there and cut him off. So CJ's got, I forgot who it was. I think it might have been Buddy Hield or someone at the top there. And as we go to the next slide, CJ, by the time Rocco realizes that Dame needs him to guard his guy for some reason, CJ is forced in a situation where he either has to come up and guard De'Aaron Fox and leave the shooter, or stay home and let Fox just drive right into our defense with a full head of steam. And so CJ makes the decision to step out towards the ball handler because, you're always supposed to pick up ball in that situation. And then Fox just dumps it off to the guy CJ was supposed to be handling or guarding, and he hits a three in the last slide. So CJ is a step behind because he had to step out on that. And this is what I'm talking about when I say fixable mistakes. All you have to do is get back and get on the guy you're supposed to be guarding. And we wouldn't give up a wide open three in transition off a made basket. Mm-hmm. There is no excuses for this. This is just lazy, horrible, bad awareness, just inexcusable lapses of defense. And this is why, if you don't fix these things, they'll never be a good defense. And I know this is the problem. Dame and CJ will always be hidden like this. So Stotts wanted Dame to just pick up Mo Harkless in this situation because he's probably not going to get the ball. And if he does, he's not really a threat to put it on the dribble and go by Dame or whatever. So in those situations, it was probably like, okay, just pick up like their worst player at all times or whatever. But Dame can't do that anymore if we want to be a good defense. And if he's going to be true to himself and want to hold himself accountable, he's got to stop this, and Chauncey's got to coach this out of them. They have to be better in transition, and it starts with simply picking up the guy you're supposed to guard instead of just and this is what leads to the lazy off-ball situations, because this is lazy, and then you get picked off ball, and then you're still in the lazy mode because you're not in fight scrap mode, right? So this is where it starts, right at half court. If you're in aggressive scrap mode, you're like, okay, let me get to Fox real quick. You're jumping at him. You're cutting him off so he can't penetrate or make a play here. And instead, it's just like, you get Rocco, you go get him. I don't feel like running at him this time. And this has got to change. And this is easily fixable if you're holding this team accountable. And if Dame's the culprit in these situations, I mean, this is really bad. And this is stuff that if anyone else on the team was doing stuff like this, they'd probably be taken out of the game. Yeah. And then there's situations where this happens with Rocco, and then he looks like he's doing something wrong because he's trying to cover for Dame doing this. And we just need to clean up this stuff. And once again, I'm hopeful because if we're being coached the right way, this stuff can be cleaned up and fixed. But until it does, this is why we give up so many points in the first half of this game. It's just stuff like this.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, like, there's certain situations where Rocco might have to pick up De'Aaron Fox if De'Aaron Fox has the ball, and Dame might have to pick up Mo Harkless. But that's like if they are threatening transition to the point where like if Rocco doesn't pick up De'Aaron Fox, he's going to get a lay-in. This is not one of those situations. So this isn't a situation where you have to pick up who's closest and maybe cross-match to contain a transition threat. This is, you got 4 guys right there, the ball's still in the backcourt, and Dame is right there. He could easily slide in front of De'Aaron Fox. So, and that's the thing with this type of play, Eric, is like, or go ahead and make your point.
Well, I was just going to say, so for the record, I didn't show scoring, but Nurk has a lay-in. He's on the baseline, but Len's taking the ball out. So Nurk, this isn't any out of his responsibility. He's the last one down the court because he laid the ball in. But all the other 4 players were around the perimeter, so they have no excuse for not getting back and being in position in a quicker manner.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. If people see this play out, who do you think they end up blaming?
CJ or Rocco.
Yeah, but probably CJ.
Yep, CJ. He gave up a wide open 3 to his guy. He left his guy. Yep.
But like he gets stuck. Like you have to pick up ball first. So nobody's picking up ball here. He's stepping to ball because nobody's picking up ball, and that was Dame's fault, right? Like if nobody picks up ball, De'Aaron Fox is going to drive the lane right to the rim and get a layup. So people will see the result of a mistake and blame the result for the mistake, but the mistake happened way before this. So that's the thing, is like a lot of people like, and that's what we try and illustrate. That's why it's fun doing this. Like, this is Dame's mistake. This is Dame's fault. I know it ends up with the ball at the other side of the court as Dame and CJ running back out to the guy that he was initially guarding and him hitting a 3. That doesn't mean it was CJ's fault. So,
and I mean, that's happened all year with Nurkic too. Like Nurkic will try to cover for someone, and then it'll be like, oh, Nurk gave up a wide open dunk to Frank Kaminsky or Jared Allen. He's terrible, even though it wasn't his fault that they're getting up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. That's a great way to illustrate that. That Brandt's breakdown, good breakdowns once again. This is now probably my favorite segment, to be able to showcase some things we talk about, and you have not missed with a single one of the plays that you have showed. Let's think a couple. Yeah, let's think a couple donos. Don and J Tor 50 rupee dono. He says, "Let's go, Bruce. I agree with you." I don't know what Bruce said, but cool. Appreciate the 50 rupee dono. And then Don and J Tor with another 50 rupee dono. He says, "Are you guys done with CJ and sold on to trade him?" We are not done with CJ. We've just been talking against
Magic Scope's late to chat.
We've been talking against that for like 30, 40 minutes now.
This whole thing has been
like, CJ played terrible, but like, don't be ridiculous and say I'm completely done with him when people were done with him last night when he had 32, and it's just a little bit of an overreaction in terms of the grander scheme of things. It's
frustrating though. I mean, this is a game we should have won, and CJ didn't play well and probably cost us the game. But
there's a difference between being frustrated with the game tonight and just being like, he played terrible, god dang it, he missed a bunch of shots, he made these bad decisions. There's a difference between that and like, I'm so done with CJ, he should be on the bench, he's overpaid, he's horrible, he's a bum, we need to trade him immediately, he's the 6th man on a contender, like blah blah blah. Like, that stuff is different, and some people don't seem to understand the differences with that. Like, I don't know. Like, people aren't saying, that's the thing. People aren't saying those things after he has good games. I mean, he did not look like a 6th man last night when he was absolutely phenomenal. Best player on the team last night. Like, so that's just, I don't know. That's just the way it goes. But we will never be like, I don't know. We will always try and be reasonable. That's what we strive for.
Well, Gibbo says we need a detailed breakdown on the Rocco mask toss. I thought about it, but yes, like, I don't know. To me, it looked like he was frustrated with his mask, threw it off to the sideline. It just happened to be that the ref was standing on the side. Like, why was the ref even standing? Like, there was a clock
to that spot too.
Clock malfunction or whatever. But at the same time, you got to be aware that how bad that looks to throw it at the ref's feet or whatever. So, yeah.
The refs were horrible in this game, though. But yeah, that play, I don't know. it's soft, I think, but it's not. People act like it was the worst thing ever, and I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I mean, he threw equipment and hit a ref with it. Like, I don't know. I don't think it was malicious, so I don't think he should have gotten ejected. But, he did. Whatever. Like, I was kind of like, okay, we get more Larry Nance Jr., and then we don't play more
Nope,
Larry
we
Nance
don't.
Jr., so I was more aggravated about that than anything. But I legitimately, watched the whole first half in the last 2 minutes, because I was watching at... I wasn't watching at home. I decided, all right, I'm going to go get some food, because there's a timeout with 2 minutes left. I'm going to go get some food and then drive home and be there before the start of the second half. So I'm listening to it on the radio when it all goes down, and Travis Demers thought Dame got ejected at first. I was just like, what? Like, Dame had just picked up a technical that I didn't see, and then he said, Dame got ejected. And I was just like, what did Dame do? And then it's like, something got thrown, a water bottle got thrown at a ref or something. Like, he was sitting pretty far away, so he couldn't exactly see, but starts talking about something gets thrown at a ref. I'm like, Dame threw a water bottle at the ref? And then as Robert Covington threw his mask, they're gonna review it.
Well, live, Chauncey's talking to him from behind, and it looks like he looks right at Chauncey when he ejects him, so I thought Chauncey got thrown out at first, and then I was like, well, maybe Dame said something from across the court and got his second technical because he'd already had one at that point. And then when I saw Rocco throw his, I don't know, to me he's not even looking at the ref. He's just walking down the court frustrated and threw his mask off, but I don't know.
Yep. Shout out Donajay Tor, 60 rupee dono, appreciate it. He says, what are your thoughts on Dennis Smith Jr.'s game, mainly offense? I didn't think he had a good offensive second half. I don't think he had a good offensive game in general, but he was good defensively in the first half, struggled in the second half. But we're going to talk about player cards right now. So first, let's hop into tweets of the game. Let me pull it up here. Let's get rid of the happy tweets from yesterday, Eric, because we got some frustration tweets today instead. Yay, the Blazers played a road game. What else is new? It's freezing up here. Give me a sec. All right. Shout out to Amar. He said, this was that game that made me feel like I wanted to throw my television. Side note, why are we the 96 Bulls at home and the 2018 Knicks on the road? This was one of those games where I wanted to throw a television too. I wanted to throw something, man. I would never throw the television, but I think this was a hat tossing night. I definitely threw my hat.
Yep, this should have been a game where even if we didn't play well, we should be talking about getting our second win on the road. Instead, we're talking about all these problems that continue to happen on the road.
Yep, and there's our Twitter handles in that tweet too, so make sure to go follow us. David Lester says, love a game where the refs stay out of it. This was not one. Painful to watch. # Blazers Uprise. That was the most involved refs have been in any game this year. A lot of ticky-tack calls for both ways, the ejections. That was, the referees were the star of the game tonight. They were a big factor in this one. Nurkic versus Sacramento. It was Wilt Chamberlain. That's the thing. We were talking about this on Twitter. Not me and you, but other people, other Blazer fans. We're talking about how Nurkic is always really good in Sacramento. He had that 20, 25, 5-5 game in Sacramento. And tonight he dominates once again. So I don't know what's in the air there in Sacramento, but Nurkic has always been great in Sacktown. Wilt Chamberlain-esque tonight.
Yeah. Should have easily had 30 and 20.
30 and 20, man. I wish. Shout out to Pineapples. He says, Robert Covington with the vicious hostile act. I cannot believe he would do such a thing. Blazers. Vicious. Yeah. Just so vicious.
So vicious.
I don't know what that logo is. I think that was a Chris touch.
That referee probably going to have to go ice down his ankle after that.
Oh, yeah, man. Hopefully he's not out for the season, man. That mask is a hard piece of plastic, dude. That's a serious weapon. He should be arrested for assault with a weapon, honestly, after throwing that mask at the ref.
The funniest part is that it landed first 3 feet away from him and just slid into him. It wasn't just not like it hit him in the air or something.
And the ref saw it coming. He's like, I'm gonna let this hit me, then I'm gonna eject him. I don't know.
It's a 2K badge, by the way.
It's a 2K badge. Okay. I don't play 2K. I'm not a 2K person. Alrighty, let me put the player cards in here. We're going to go really quick with this, all right? So, let's try it. Okay, let's try and keep this under 10 minutes. That's the goal. I don't know if we can do it. I already have the player cards in there. I have to put them back now.
Nurk's first, he was awesome.
Yeah. This is going to be
this
is going to be a challenge to do this in under 10 minutes, but let's try and do it. Eric, Damian Clutch Lillard, 32 points, 10 assists. You guys see the rest of the stats there. Got to the line a bunch, played a lot of minutes. What were your thoughts on him? We already talked about him.
Dame played all right. I didn't like his shot selection in the second half. Didn't like a lot of the threes he shot.
He settled.
Like,
When we had him in the penalty, he started settling for jumpers when he was getting a lot of calls. Like, you haven't gotten calls all year, and now you're getting every call whenever you attack, and they're in the penalty, and you're jacking up contested jump shots. I didn't understand that.
They don't have a rim protector in the game, really, either. So, Eddie's been good from mid-range this year. But, yeah.
I mean, it's an efficient scoring night. 32 points on 18 shots. You'll take that for sure. 10 assists, you'll take that. So offensively, I thought it was a fun game from him. Outside of it, just should have been better if he just stopped, if he didn't settle for jumpers. And defensively, I thought he struggled though pretty mightily actually.
I don't remember his second turnover, but the one was really bad where he got caught on the baseline like everyone did, like multiple times in this game, and threw a bad pass turnover and led to, I think Nas ended up fouling him for 2 free throws. But, just can't have those live ball turnovers throwing it away from your basket where they're getting out on a fast break because of it.
Yep, I agree. Let's move on and talk about Yusuf Roast Beef Nurkic. Where did that come from? Was that the broadcast that came from?
That was Calabro.
Good old Calabro, man. Yusuf Roast Beef Nurkic. He was roasting him. And then he got in that beef with Bo Harkless, which was strange, man. I don't know what went on there. I assume they're all fine. It's just heat of the moment stuff.
Yeah, after the game, they were laughing. So,
but I mean, 80% from 2 was 0 for 2 from 3. Had one go like halfway down and out, so that sucks. But very efficient night from him. Finished really well. One of those 2-point misses, he followed up for a putback. So for all intents and purposes, from 2-point, he was like 12 for 14. I mean, he was automatic finishing, man. And where's all the people saying Nurkic can't finish? He can't finish when he's setting a career high by far in terms of finishing and just absolutely finished everything tonight and just picked them apart. 17 boards, rebounded the ball great. He had a triple-double in the first quarter and then 5 assists. He was easily our best player tonight.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. Just such a disservice to not play through him in the second half of this game. And I think that's why we lost this game. I think we would have won easily had we come out with a similar game plan to play through him in the second half. And yeah, he got some silly fouls. He's got to cut that out. But I mean, that was after several minutes where he should have been involved and didn't really see the ball much in the second half until I guess when he came back in, he got a couple, but just no excuse for not playing with him when he's both passing the ball well and your guards are struggling. He can get them open shots by using off-ball actions. Probably could have gotten maybe Dame or CJ going in the second half had they gotten a couple easy lay-ins off some Nurk backdoor passes or just something like that. And just none of that in the second half is very, very discouraging.
Yeah, I agree. But nice to see him have a terrific game tonight and just a super impressive statistical performance from him. Next up, we got Norm stare down Powell. He stared down the ref after making that 3 after Rocco got ejected. 22 points in 35 minutes, 16 shots. Would have liked to have gotten him a few more shots because he was pretty efficient tonight. 5 for 10 from 3, was knocking down his shots from behind the arc. 8 for 16 from the field. Solid game from Norm. What do you think about him?
Yeah, Norm was pretty good shooting. Okay on defense. I'd like to see him get through screens a little better. He's got to be our scrap guy on defense if he's not getting a lot of shots. And I've seen it at times this year, but he's got to do a better job of being that physical guy who gets through screens and is just like be our Davion Mitchell kind of guy. But yeah, so but solid game from Norm.
Yeah, I agree. Nasai a little. He had a bunch of impressive finishes in this one, and 2 for 3 from 3. Really good night for Nas. He still got the Nas down there in the bottom right. Defensively, he had some good moments. He had some bad. He had some bad moments. Offensively, I thought he was really good in this one.
Yeah, there was one time he's got to learn if he doesn't have that little when he's going across the paint and he kind of goes past the hoop and then tries to use his athleticism to jump. When it's not there, kick it out. But I still feel like he could cut a lot more and get easy shots without having to do it so much off the dribble. But other than that, yeah, it's a pretty good game from him overall.
Yep.
And that it was infuriating too that he gets a clean block and they call stupid foul. We have to waste a challenge. Then we lose the tip and they hit a 3 and yeah.
Yeah, freaking refs, man. The refs have been so rough this year. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was an infuriating play. Just another one. I mean, like there's more infuriating plays that I've forgotten. I've talked about a bunch of them so far this game. It was just an infuriating game overall. Next up, CJ. I don't know how we did that or where he got that from. Chris is getting creative with it. I mean, we talked about CJ almost all streams, so I don't have anything else to say.
CJ.
There is his stats though.
Minus 17 was by far the worst. Yeah.
By far the worst in the starting lineup, at least. 5 fouls as well, 4 turnovers. So rough, very rough game from CJ. No doubts about it. Larry, greater than CJ Nance Jr., 5 points, 4 rebounds, 2 for 5 from the field, a steal. I don't know. We talked about him a bit. Anything else that you wanted to say on him?
Nope. Just not using our bigs right, in my opinion, especially in the second half.
Agreed. And he should be playing more than 20 minutes. He's not being played enough still, in my opinion. We gotta utilize his playmaking a little bit more, running some motion with him having the ball, and I want to see him play more with Nurkic. That's where I'm at with him. Had that nice buzzer beater to end the the second quarter. It was the first or the second quarter. Had that nice buzzer beater contested.
It was the first quarter, yeah.
That was an impressive 3 from him.
Mm-hmm.
You got Dennis Defense Smith Jr., 3 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 for 5 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. Was a plus 10. I mean, plus if you believe it, or if your religion is plus minus, then that plus 10 is looking good for Dennis Smith Jr. I thought he changed the complexion of the game in the first half in the way that you would expect maybe Dennis Smith Jr. to change the game with his defense. We kind of went on a run. We started playing better defense, and he was a big part of that. Got a couple of steals on De'Aaron Fox. So I like that sub to match him up against De'Aaron Fox. Offensively, though, he didn't do much in the first half. And then on both sides of the court in the second half, I think he was awful.
Yep. There's a couple times where Dame kicked out to him and he had an open 3 and he's just so hesitant to shoot. That kind of cost us getting an open shot. But I do like guys who are like in the first half. I mean, we have someone like I always bring up Kent Bazemore because he's the best example I have of this. Hazonia was a little bit this way as well that same season. But they come in the game and they just do like crap that they are not capable of doing. And they think they're a star and they try to take over a game and do all this stuff. So I do want to give credit to Dennis Smith Jr. because if anyone should be like that, it's probably him, a high lottery pick who had some success his first year, was a decent scorer, and then has been kind of humbled. So credit to him for improving and knowing that he could make a name for himself on the defensive end. And he just comes in and he tries to run the offense. He's trying to get people involved. He's trying to pass as much as possible. So it's like the complete opposite of the other guards in this game. But
I will agree with that for the first half, but not for the second half.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wasn't like hunting a shot really.
He shot that horrible like fadeaway that barely.
But that was against the shot clock.
Was it that low? I thought it was at about 5 or 6. And that's a
Well,
horrible
that was
shot.
one of those possessions where we had nothing going, and then it got kicked out to him after CJ or Dame couldn't get a shot off, and then he just had to make something happen.
I thought
But
there was more on the shot clock because I remember being pretty annoyed with that shot. And then there was like multiple times where he drove into traffic without a plan and drove baseline, turned the ball over, stepping on the baseline where he was going nowhere. Like, so I agree with that in the first half, and overall, like throughout his tenure here, I've seen that. In the second half, he kind of got away from that, and that's why I was disappointed in him.
But like, I mean, not having a plan and trying to pass, or like he was still trying to find someone open. But yeah, he had some bad drives where he got caught baseline, stepped out of bounds, made some bad passes out of that. But yeah, I think it's nice to have someone in there that you can come in and do that. So hopefully in the future, if we need him to come in, he plays more like he did in the first half. And I'm sure after watching film, maybe they can recognize what he did differently in the first half versus the second half and build upon that.
Yep, agreed. Robert Batman Covington. Look at those zeros, man. Look at those zeros. The masked man strikes again and got ejected. So lots of zeros there. I mean, there's nothing... He got ejected and didn't do anything statistically. There isn't really anything to say.
Nope.
We got Cody, definitely mid-Zeller. 2 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. I've been disappointed with Zeller this season, man. He came out strong, and he's just seemingly regressed this season. And now when he's in the game, I don't know. It's just... I don't know what it is. I just don't have confidence in him to play good enough defense, and then offensively, he's just very meh, you know. He's not anything special on that end. At least he hasn't been this year for us.
Yeah. Hopefully he can get better. We have played several teams missing their starting centers. A lot of teams have been playing small against us. That's another reason why maybe those 10 minutes should have gone to Nance tonight instead. But...
Yeah. Yep. Bando says, Hassan Whiteside is better. Told you, Tori. Man, get out of here with that. I never even necessarily disagreed with that. I don't remember disagreeing with that, but also, I mean, Hassan Whiteside is not a good NBA player. But, you know, people love blocks, Eric, so they want a guy who hunts a bunch of blocks and gets, 2 or 3 a game, but then gives up fouls and gets out of position because he's jumping at everything, whatever. Anyway, that's Cody Zeller.
Well, Zeller's been out of position a lot too. So.
I mean, why, bro? Like after a game like this, man, why the hell are people in chat arguing Hassan Whiteside versus Cody Zeller? Really? We gotta go there too? Like, we gotta go there too, man. I don't get it.
I want to bring up a comment by, I'm going to butcher this name, Kalunji Hashim says, there's no way possible that Norm should be defending threes down the stretch of games.
He's just fine defending threes.
Okay.
So I don't know what he's talking about.
So, who... The Sacramento Kings had Davion Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton, and Buddy Hield in the stretch of this game. That's 3 guards, just like us. Norm actually has a better standing reach than any of those players. I don't understand. Like, that's not why we lost this game. It has nothing to do with this. And last game, last night, the Nuggets were playing small because they had to with all their injuries. Philadelphia, Drummond didn't even really play in the second half. They played really small in that game. It had nothing to do with Norm at the 3. Like none of these games. Norm's been fine. He hasn't really. I mean, outside of a couple plays by Paul George, but for the most part, he was pretty good against Paul George. And he didn't play in one of the Clippers games. I don't know. I hate when people make statements like that when. I don't know. Why did we lose? Why did we lose? Yeah. Why did we lose? Because Norm was defending a 3 down the stretch when they didn't even have a 3-man in the game. They had Bagley, who's a 4 or 5. They had Damian Jones, who's a 5. They had 3 guards. They didn't have a small forward in the game. So what are you talking about? He was guarding a small forward down the stretch.
Yeah. He shouldn't be guarding Buddy Hield, apparently, man. I don't know.
I don't get it, man. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like rag on people, but this is why we say like be better and like actually bring arguments that make sense like to the table.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
people are like, why don't you guys interact more with chat? And it's like, at least in the laws, it's like, that's what we have to interact with, is something that's not based on the game when we're trying to break down the game. It doesn't make sense. Let's do a Chauncey Billups interview if you
All
are
right.
ready for
Yeah.
that.
Let's go.
Chauncey.
Coach, just your general
It's going to be interesting.
thoughts on that one. It seemed like you guys had not in hand, but had a good chance to win that one, and then lost it down the stretch.
Yeah, I thought, we were in a pretty good position in that first half. I think we were up 8, with I think maybe 4 to go. I think similar position to where we were at last night, where we actually made that run and didn't capitalize. At that time, I thought we could have really kind of put our stamp on the game at that point, but didn't capitalize. Had a couple miscues, and then this team, they have the ability to kind of, if you're not disciplined enough, they can make you play their style because, it's just up and down, kind of loosey-goosey. It's not really how we play, but they kind of drug us into that tonight. And, a couple miscommunications, defensive assignments late in the game, and, we didn't get good enough shots, but that's really on me. I take responsibility for getting us in things late in games, getting the ball to the right people in the right spots. I got to be better at that. But overall, we just, I thought defensively we just didn't have it. We didn't have it tonight.
Your thoughts on Rocco getting ejected?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. The rules are the rules, obviously, and he sometimes throws that mask, in his own frustration. Maybe a play that he was frustrated with himself on, and it, subsequently ended up hitting the referee. And that was unfortunate, but the rules are the rules, that didn't cost us the game.
How do you feel like you guys did with dealing with the kind of the physical nature of the game? Obviously, Fox gets ejected, Damian gets technical, Nurkic went too. Like, how do you feel like you guys dealt with that?
Yeah, it got a little trippy. I mean, there was a time or two when I came into the huddle and just told us, just stay off the officials. We got to play. We got to play. If you feel like they're calling bad calls on our end, they've been consistent. They're consistent the entire way. So I felt like that kind of got us a little bit off of our rhythm, being too concerned with the referees and what they are not calling. We got to be a little more focused and better in that department.
We're going to take one from Zoom real quick, Case. Go ahead, Aaron Pinterest.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned that the defense didn't really have it tonight. Do you attribute that to playing last night? Did you feel like the effort at least was there this time? Because once again, it looks like the defense didn't come through on the road.
Yeah, I felt like, it's always tough on a back-to-back when you have to travel, but it is what it is. Every team has to deal with that. I felt like our effort was there for the most part. I just felt like we was a step slow mentally in our coverages and things like that. Just one step slow. And that one step will cost you. You lose Buddy Hield late in games. That's when he likes to get his shots off. We know exactly what they wanted to do, and they still found a way to get it off, and then Bagley hit some big ones. So I felt like we was just just a step slow, not physically, but mentally tonight defensively.
And even still, you were right there, but Dame and CJ just for whatever reason went really cold in that second half, 5 for 24 combined. It's pretty tough to win that way, right?
Yeah. It was a tough night for CJ. He just couldn't get it going, and then, Dame, was getting to the line, and he had it going, and he had a couple shots that he, usually makes that didn't go for him. But that's how this game works.
Thanks.
What do you think of Yusuf's game tonight?
Yeah, I thought obviously Nurk was huge. You know, he went to him early, and he took advantage of his opportunities down there. I mean, he was great. Obviously, finishing around the basket, they had no answer for him, and we kept going to him, and he kept delivering. You know, I thought he was really good the entire game, even defensively. I thought he did some really good things.
That's the end of it. I wouldn't say you kept going to him and kept going to him the same way, but that was a disappointing interview, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
I there's like nothing insightful there. I mean, I agree with that. They seem to step slow mentally. I made that point earlier. Said they need to get better shots down the stretch. I don't know. There's really nothing insightful there.
Yeah, I like that he said that. That we need to get better shots, but I don't like that's basketball. That happens sometimes. I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, I agree with Dro too. Not very good questions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I wish we could ask questions or have somebody ask questions for us or something. It's just like nothing is really based on anything to do with X's and O's, you know. And that's kind of where I end up disappointed with things, you know.
Yeah, as Russ points out, no question about why Nurk didn't touch the ball in the second half.
Yeah. Let me pull that down there. It's just like I don't know. He said they kept going to him, and nobody even questioned it. Like, you did not keep going to him and keep going to him. You know, I would have loved the question. Do you think you should have went to Nurkic more in the second half when you guys were struggling to get good shots? Because when you got to Nurkic, you got good shots and you finished them. So I don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
very frustrating.
Yep. Anything else from that interview or anything in general, or you want to go around the NBA?
Let's go around the NBA.
Yeah, we'll go quick with it. Let me pull it up here. I'm not quite ready. So if there's anything good in chat, I know it's hard, Eric, tonight to find some. There's some good comments in chat. I should give more credit to the people that have posted good comments in chat. It's a mixed bag tonight. But if anything stands out to you in chat, feel free to shout it out. While I get this going.
Yeah. Cody says, I see why you can't respond to chat. Not a lot of great takes happening.
Yeah,
I don't think it's quite that bad, but yeah, it's frustrating, and this is why I dread losses, like especially when we play in this way, because we don't play a winning style of basketball, and we know that has to improve. Tori and I have been on Blazers Uprise for 2.5 years saying that we can't play this way to win, and then we do, and then we have all these people saying, see, they're not a good team, they can't win. It's like, well, yeah, exactly, because they can't play this way and be a good team. So this is why we're hoping the coaching improves the team. But
agreed. Dang, it's only been 2.5 years,
right? Yeah, because it was
draft of 2019,
yeah, which was June of 2019, yeah. So
it's been less than 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my goodness.
2 years. Yep.
It feels like we've been doing this for a lot longer than that, man. That's crazy. I'm impressed with us. It really hasn't been that long for us to get to this point with what we're doing here. Let's head around the NBA. We have a sad game to start off with. This would have been a good night if the Blazers won and the Lakers lost, but vice versa, the Lakers win in OT. LeBron James, off of his 1-game suspension, 39.6 assists, 13 for 29 from the field, 5 for 12 from 3. That's a good game for him. The Pacers have had a lot of tough losses, multiple overtime losses this season. They fall to 8-12. Lakers at 10-10.
LeBron had a huge 3 in this one and did his LeBron dance.
Yeah, so he hasn't been putting up like great stats so far this year. I think he's averaging like 22 and 6, and that's it. Those stats will look better after tonight. This was kind of a vintage LeBron James, at least a vintage older LeBron James sort of game, where he makes 5 threes and was able to get things going downhill a little bit. So Lakers win there. You got the Hornets beating the Magic 106-99. Terry Rozier 27 points, Bo Bamba 18 in the loss. Did you see LaMelo Ball's missed fast break dunk?
I did, yeah. He tried to one up Greg Brown and failed.
Yeah, I mean that wouldn't have won up Greg Brown, and he still failed. So that was hilarious. If you haven't seen what we're talking about, go check it out on YouTube or Twitter or something. It's hilarious. The Hornets take care of business, though, against the Magic. The Suns beat the Cavs 121-15. Second night in a row with a close battle for the Suns. The Cavs continue to struggle after losing Colin Sexton and Evan Mobley to injuries. Devin Booker has a good game tonight, 35 points. He's kind of struggled a little bit this year, but not tonight. Jared Allen, 25 points in the loss. The Suns have won, what is that, 14 straight now?
14 in a row, yeah.
Crazy. But they got a tough schedule coming up. They haven't had the hardest schedule to start this year.
We should be talking about a 5-game win streak.
I know, yeah, I agree. Sad. This game was a blowout on ESPN. Lots of nationally televised blowouts lately, including ours last night. The Nets take care of business against the Celtics 123-104. The Nets are now 14-5. Patty Mills with a big game, 23 points. The Wizards lose to the Pelicans by 25. So we've talked about the Wizards at length and around the NBA. I've been like, I don't know if they're a fluke or for real. They make no sense, and they continue to not make sense. They get absolutely thrashed by a team that's been horrible all season long.
Yep.
Yeah, so good win for the Pels. They're in tank mode at this point, I think. But maybe once Zion comes back, maybe they'll be a team that can maybe rattle off some wins and push for a play-in spot. I don't know. That organization is just a mess. But not tonight. 25-point win for them. And then the Rockets won too.
They beat the Bulls.
They beat the Bulls, man. And Vucevic was back in this game for the Bulls, and I don't know. I guess he's the issue. I don't know. That's the change they made, and they lost. The Bulls got blown out by the Pacers in their previous game, and then lose to the Rockets. So the Bulls are starting to maybe struggle a bit, maybe fall off. The Rockets had solid performances from a number of players. The Bulls fall to 12-7. That's crazy. So the Pelicans and the Rockets were 3-16 and 1-16 going into tonight, and they both won. So maybe it was just the bad teams. It was just their night tonight. Because the Timberwolves beat the Heat too, Eric. Lots of upsets in this one. Anthony Edwards had the non-dunk of the year, the dunk of the year that didn't count. 33 points for him. Bam with 18 in the loss for Miami. Miami's starting to struggle. The East is hard to figure out. You got some good teams starting to struggle right now and kind of fall back to the pack. We'll look at those standings in a second. The Jazz didn't let the Thunder continue the string of bad teams with upset wins. They beat the Thunder 110-104. Jordan Clarkson, solid game for the Utah Jazz. Lou Dort has had some impressive performances. That continues. He's 5 for 12 from 3 for 27 points. And then the Bucks beat the Pistons 114-93. Giannis with a vintage Giannis stat line. And look at Trey Lyles, man. I forget he's even in the league, but he had 19 in the loss. That's like the typical Pistons stat line. The Pistons end up with so many guys that you forget are in the league, and then they'll have a big game, and you'll be like, oh yeah, he's still in the league. Like Frank Jackson, he's still in the league. Josh Jackson is still in the league. Trey Lyles is still in the league. I don't know. That's the team where players go to become the most obscure versions of themselves. But they end up losing 114-93. Standings. It's the East first. Don't worry about it. Let's go to the West first. Sorry, this is slightly out of order. The Warriors and the Suns are the top two teams. Portland still top 6 after this loss. I mean, they're still only a game out of 4th, so this isn't, we're still completely fine in terms of standings positioning. We got a game against Utah coming up. It would be nice to get that. Golden State next. So 2 tough games coming up. But, I mean, they're still in 6th place right now, and things are pretty bunched up here. So not too much to worry about.
Yeah, but this is why you can't lose these kind of games, because instead of being In 6, we'd be a game and a half out of third with a chance to possibly overtake them on Monday. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'd be
I know,
tied for fourth right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to take care of games that are winnable games like this against bad teams, and we did not, unfortunately. The Eastern Conference standings, let me go back here, and then we'll look at the next 5 games. Brooklyn, number 1. Beyond that, you got a lot of question marks. Miami's been struggling. Chicago's been struggling. Washington had a bad loss today. Charlotte's kind of gaining steam. Milwaukee's finally somewhat healthy. Chris Middleton's back. They're sitting there only 3 games out of first, so they're going to continue to climb.
They're a game out of second.
Yeah, and a game out of second. But that's the thing. You have 2 games separating second and 10th right now. Miami at 12-7, Boston at 10-9. And you only have 3 games separating second and 12th. So it's an interesting Eastern Conference standings. I like looking at this after every game just to see kind of this jumbled mess over there in the East.
Yep.
Let's look at the next 5 games. You got Golden State, Utah, 2 tough road games, and then you got 3 winnable home games, Detroit, San Antonio, Boston. Boston's always a team that kind of gives us some trouble. We have a lot of close battles with them, but Boston has not been as good this year as years past. So it sucks to lose the first game of this road trip, man. We got to win one of the next 2 to go 12-10 this month. I think we take care of business against Detroit, obviously. So just win one of these 2. You got Golden State, that's a tough matchup, but then you got 2 days off, and then you go into Utah to face the Jazz, and they haven't necessarily been playing the best basketball as of late. So, it's a chance for the Blazers to overcome their road woes and get a good win. Like, if they lose against the Warriors, I'm not tripping. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not tripping like I did tonight, because that's a really good team playing at home with a really good home court advantage. So it's a great opportunity. That's basically what that next game is.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on this upcoming slate?
I'm too frustrated. I'm done.
Ahead.
I hate looking ahead. I mean, every time we look ahead, we have a game like tonight, and it just makes me mad.
Yeah. I mean, we said, like, before the 4-game homestand, we looked at everything, and we're like, we need to go 4-1 over the stretch.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of our goal.
We
went
did,
4-1.
I guess. Yeah.
It just sucks because we should have went 5-0. Should have been on a 5-game winning streak, so I feel that. That is around the NBA. Thank you, Chris, for putting that together for us. Anything else to talk about in regards to this game that you want to, Eric?
Not really about the game. Just thank everyone for watching, and I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. And thank you for all your support throughout the years. Appreciate all of you. Just kind of frustrating tonight.
Yeah, very frustrating tonight. I mean, this is a good post-game show, good events, and lots of great points, I think, were made on this post-game show, at least on air. But, we move forward and hope for better days on the road because it's been a miserable road experience. Oh, my goodness. They got to figure things out, man. And you got a good opportunity coming up Friday. We won't have Blazers Uprise Live tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving, obviously. We will have Blazers Uprise Live on Friday at 3:30 p.m. That might be a solo stream for me, but I want to do picks against the spread on Friday because we got 10 games after having no action tomorrow. Just a blackout day, so to say. It's a holiday. Go spend time with family. All that good stuff. Hopefully you guys end up enjoying your Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll come back strong Friday with potentially a solo stream from me, an episode of Blazers Surprise Live, pushed back a day. So we can do some picks against the spread and preview that Warriors game. Anything else to plug? I don't feel like plugging much. I'm just kind of ready to just go and chill for the next 48 hours until that Warriors game tips off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, man. I mean, hopefully you guys have a good Thanksgiving. Enjoy your turkey, the 70% of you that voted turkey. For the 30% of you that voted ham, enjoy your ham. I'm sure the ham people are still having turkey. I've seen debates on Blazers Twitter about homemade stuffing lately. So if you're a stuffing person, enjoy that too.
I'm a stuffing person.
Are you a stuffing? So am I. I don't know why people are hating on stuffing. I don't get it.
I love stuffing, yeah.
It's just, sometimes it can be a little bit dry, so maybe you gotta put the right, I don't know, you gotta get it cooked right. If it's if it's like moist enough, if it's like has a perfect amount of moisture, Eric, it's phenomenal. You just gotta get that balance right.
Yes, agreed.
I don't want to break down Blazers anymore tonight, so we're gonna end this stream breaking down stuffing and Thanksgiving. So anyway, I'll catch you guys on Twitter, and then we'll catch you on Friday with 2 streams, and hopefully talking about a phenomenal road win after the Warriors game. That's a great opportunity to put these road demons behind us. So hopefully the Blazers are able to make some progress there. Have a good rest of your night. Have a good Thanksgiving. Until we see you next, as always,